Good afternoon. In collaboration of, good afternoon again. On behalf of Hospitality News Magazine and in collaboration with ODEMA, we would like to welcome you to our new talk, New Opportunities in Rural Tourism. Welcome again. Naji, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So welcome to Horeca Connect conferences. I'm happy to have a session today about the opportunities in rural tourism. رح نحكي عربي كمان بس رح بلش introduction in Arabic. So we have Omar Saer, president of the Lebanese Mountain Trail Association. We have Lisa Gérigian from Lebanon Travel. We have Claude Rababi from Kirzay. We have Faisal Saab from Hosh and Sarah Trad from Beit Rad. And we're waiting for Noor. She'll be joining later on. So today we're gonna focus on the opportunities in rural tourism. We're gonna discuss, of course, the guest houses, but not only. What is coming after that trend? Is this trend saturated? Do we still see demand on that trend? What's the status of the guest houses? Maybe you can start, Faisal. Arabic, English, you're fine.
So the idea, following the question of Naji, I think people are still looking for what we call authentic experiences. So alternative lodging will still be a trend moving forward. But I really think as well that these guest houses or experiences should be specialized. Each region should be different from...
Yeah, we will discuss that as opportunities, but okay. I'd like to have an overview today because yesterday the Minister of Tourism was saying بدنا نشوف شو عندكم بالضيعة إذا عندكم خربة إذا hello Noor, this is Noor Haddad. إذا عندكم خربة إذا عندكم مشروع إذا عندكم بيت قديم transform it into a guest house already عملوا مثل survey وصلوا ل 117 guest house in Lebanon. So first, as an overview, is it too much? Is it not enough? Do we still have rooms? How are you doing yourselves in Kirzay, Hosh, Ama, Beit Rad? How is the business doing?
Well, the business has challenges, of course, especially in terms of energy cost. But having said that, there are always opportunities, and especially with renewable energies. So this will definitely be the new way forward. And answering you, definitely there is always demand for authentic experiences because people want these experiences, especially when they go to the mountains. You go to the north, it's different than the Bekaa, than Kisarwen, than the south. So definitely there is always a demand, but you have to specialize and have a decent service as well because people are becoming demanding. And the other opportunities, people are traveling less. So people are traveling more locally as well. So there's an opportunity for us.
Okay, so you're happy with the figures the last 2 years, despite the COVID, despite the crisis?
The figures are decent. We all had challenges, especially from fluctuating exchange rate. So this is a concern we had, but we had to adapt. People adapted as well. And we're moving forward on this basis, basically.
Sarah?
I think there's, if I look at our bookings, we're quite busy from April to end of September. And there definitely is opportunity for more. I come from a region with very few hotels, actually nearly no hotels. And the ones that are there have very little charm. I hope the owners are not here. So people want to go to the mountains. People want to get out of the cities. And there's opportunities and there's space. And خربة صغيرة أما بيت كبير في فرق بالسعر في فرق بالexperience بس you can there's opportunities يعني and also price range should be we should have more availability in the price range I believe and there is room for lower
Yeah, that's
prices.
the opportunities we're going to discuss.
So no. So when you ask if is it saturated,
you're happy with the two last years you had?
Well, like Faisal, they were very challenging, but contrary to what every year in January, we thought we'd be out of business by June. And actually, every year had its opportunities, different. It was very complicated, but the clients came, whether locals because they couldn't travel, or مغتربين because they had left and اشتاقوا ورجعوا like last summer, etc., etc. So it was very positive, very tiring. Maroon, our manager, lost, I think, 6 kilos in 1 year, but
I should be GM maybe. Claude in Kerzai.
Kerzai is almost the same. I don't know. The mic is working now.
Yeah.
It's mainly functioning on seasons. So you have 3 seasons. One is a high, one is a medium, and one is a very low. On low season, things are difficult. I think like everyone. The only thing we have done is we have developed new solar energies. We have linked them to batteries and to generators in a complex setup to do to focus on a couple of rooms whenever we have occupancy, so we don't use the rest. So developing new energies and technologies is good on savings, but that will not give you more occupancy. So I think there should be more availability on the market with different range of prices. I think all hours are high. Again. So people
can we say that a 40% occupancy rate as an average for the 120 guest house is a low average occupancy rate, or is it?
It's generating net revenues, but we should be doing better.
So can I say that 40% is the right occupancy rate for the whole year between
it's
high
not the right one, it's the existing one.
The existing one today in 2021.
Yes.
Noor, as a last comer مش بس بالبانل بس كمان بالguest houses with Dar Noor, and you are أكيد a consultant in tourism and a specialist. How do you see the market, and how is it going, مع Dar Noor?
So it's true. I just opened in July 2020, and it's really a new guest house. So you are all welcome to experience Dar Noor. It's in rural Batroun. But so concerning we always have this discussion about positioning and the range of price. I'm the owner of a kherbe, like Sarah was saying. So it was a kherbe, and I restored the kherbe. So it's a very modest but very authentic house. It's not a pretentious, super luxurious house, but it's really full of comfort and an authentic house. So I think it comes as a complementary guest house for the other. So guest houses already existing in the area, because we have in rural Batroun a lot of high-end also so guest houses, and we do have a lot of low-end guest houses as well. So it offers an alternative to both of these. So, and as far as the occupancy, it was quite good last summer, but unfortunately the price of the gas and everything stopped completely everything in the end of the summer last year. So
we heard yesterday that Middle East is doing a lot of money last year, and bookings are full for this summer. And the other business that is in tourism doing well is the guest houses. But can I conclude? I'd like to have some figures. I mean, can I conclude that the average room rate has not dropped, or dropped maybe 10%? Can I conclude that despite the raise and the growth of the number of guest houses, prices are still the same, and occupancy is still the same, or not?
No, go ahead.
I think the prices dropped in 2020 and 2020 due to the fluctuation of the lira. But this year, the prices will go back to where pre-crisis in 2019. And this is due mainly to the cost of energy. So we have to put back our prices as it was before. And people are adapting, and everything is going back on track. So it was very good opportunity last year in terms of conducting business because the diesel cost was still subsidized in a way. It's no longer the case. The salaries as well were much lower than this year, so we have to revise our salaries. So we're going back to practically the same positioning for us as 2019.
Sarah?
Exactly the same trend, and we've added because we don't know where the energy prices are going. We've added a sentence to our prices that due to fuel fluctuation, our final prices would be confirmed at the beginning of every month. Because if they double again, and if they decrease, will decrease. We have to follow it. This is where we've had to be very flexible, but if you don't do that, you're losing money. So
Omar and Lisa, we're hearing that despite the crisis, despite everything, guest houses are happy. Do we still have rooms for more guest houses in the country? What is your point of view?
Well, on the Lebanon Mountain Trail, it's a 470-kilometer trail, which starts in Andet in the north and finishes in Marjayoun. We have 27 sections, and we are always in need for a better quality of guest houses because the hiker is looking for an authentic experience, as Faisal mentioned. So we have problems in always finding those guest houses with a better standard. And this is a concern to us as a destination corridor. And soon we're going to work again with the concerned stakeholders on upgrading the standards of certain guest houses. So our concern is not in the number, it's in the standard. This goes as well for the trail sector in Lebanon, where we see a lot of trails being opened everywhere in Lebanon. And this is another concern because opening a trail is a big responsibility. You can easily open a trail, make some blazing, but who's going to manage to sustain the trail? This is what we at LMTA are working now to issue a standard at the national level, so to organize the sector in terms of trails. And this way we improve the field in which you are actually the experts.
Yeah, I got you with the trails, but I mean, in terms of guest houses, do you think there is still a need?
Definitely there is a need. The number of hikers, I'm talking in mountains, let's talk about where we are. The number of hikers is increasingly. A study was made by the Lebanese University in June 2020. It showed that the number one outdoor activities in Lebanon for the next 18 months, it's behind us already, is going to be hiking. And we have seen the number of hikers across the mountains and the need for guest houses. But there is a new need now, and we noticed that the young generations is asking for camping sites on the trail. So guest houses is one product. We need to develop now a new product, which is the camping site. And this is one of the objectives.
Yeah, yes. Because the question is for Noor, Claude, Faisal and Sarah, do you fill your guest houses with trekkers or
no.
Trailers or?
Sometimes.
I do have some.
Sorry?
I do have some because I'm very close to Pshale. So I'm in the middle of an area where there is a different municipality who develop trails. So like Pshale, like also Ghalboun. So a lot of hikers do pass by Dar Noor and request to have overnight there. Okay. But I wanted to also to say something about the heating this year, about the winter season. It was very challenging. The heating issue, I think, because of the gas also problem. The guest houses who open in winter season and are in mountainous areas had really difficulties for the heating issues.
Lisa, do you have an overview about the guest house and the market demand about that trend?
First of all, I wanted to congratulate the panel on the fantastic work that you're all doing. At Lebanon Traveler, obviously, we are passionate about the country and we provide a voice for all stakeholders to talk about their destinations and their products. And I agree with Omar. There is a lot of potential. I'm someone who sees potential in the country. I was blessed to work for Nuhad Damus for 7 years. I'm still at hospitality. And he was a great visionary and saw a bright future for hospitality. I'm just going to sidetrack for a second. When Nuhad was a student, he actually produced these in Switzerland. I'll be distributing them after the talk. So the point is that Lebanon Traveler is built on very strong foundations. We do offer ideas for people to experience Lebanon because there is so much to experience. And as I said, I reiterate that there are opportunities and people are, with more staycationing and with Corona and the fact that people are finally discovering, even the Lebanese are discovering their own country. So I have a very optimistic outlook.
Okay, let's be more specific about the opportunities. Let's for the guest houses and for specialists like yourselves and Omar, let's define what would be the opportunities in the rural tourism. Can you help us on that, Omar?
Yes, definitely. As I said, there is a changing behavior among the Lebanese, or let's say about the residents living in Lebanon. We see an evolving need for adventure tourism, not only the soft adventure tourism, but the hard one. And this is why, for example, this year, during the past 20 days, Joyce Azam was doing the winter traverse of the LMT to show that the LMT is a winter destination. So we see more people seeking not only to hike during the summer or during the spring or the fall, but during the winter. So hard adventure is a need. Another need, and probably this is a need which was neglected during the past 30, 40 years, is to provide a service with a facility to people who are physically challenged. And I'm happy here today to announce the launching of a strategic project for LMTA. 15 years ago, LMTA created the trail and created the hiking culture. In 2022, at our 15th anniversary, we're going to launch different trails which will be accessible to physically challenged people. We have 50,000 challenged persons in Lebanon who seek to discover nature the way we are here discovering nature by hiking or running. So we're gonna provide a specific French chair called Joëlette, which is accessible to any trail. We're not going to maintain a specific trail for 500 meters. So the 470 kilometers of the LMT will be accessible, and we will introduce as a pilot project, those chairs will be introduced to the nature reserves which are located on the LMT, يعني إهدن, Tanorin, Arzeshuf, and Jabal Musa. In addition to them, we added a coast reserve which is here. So can you imagine 50,000 Lebanese physically challenged people now will have not only the chair, they will have people trained in those reserves to serve them. We have a toilet in the reserve. We make sure there are restaurants and hotels and guest houses who will provide the necessary service to these people. We will have tour operators like ASIL members who will be with us in the training to provide a service for people in need for those services. We will have transportation companies specialized to bring those physical challenged people to the nature reserves. There are other ideas, but probably we can.
We'll cover on
Noor, do you want to add something as an opportunity?
So as far as the opportunity, I think today the keyword for tourism in general and what we call alternative and sustainable tourism is experiencing. And today, tourists and people are not looking anymore for visiting only, and they are looking for experiencing really the destination that they are going to go towards. So as far as we have a service provider that offered experiences. And I know that a lot of the guest houses that we have here as Betetrad or El Hosh or Kerzak also offer kind of experiences in the frame of the stay of the guest, as for example pottery for Kerzai, or even at Betetrad I saw in your website that you offer hiking also. Yeah. So El Hosh, a lot of farming and interesting activities, but we have also today platforms like Karya. We have today Karya also with us that offer also experiences for the tourists that would like to not only visit archaeological sites, religious sites, or just do a basic visit all around, but really wants to go toward local communities, meet with local communities, experience handicrafts, experience cooking, experience such things. Like at Little Reed also, we have a nice also venue. So we have, I see here, there is a lot of also nice venues that offer today experiences for the guests. This is the most important. We should develop these opportunities and also help platforms and service providers to reach more customers, because we have a lack of information in Lebanon. People do not know how to reach the good information to be able to experience all what we have in Lebanon. Lebanon is amazingly rich. So yeah. So
okay. Lisa, you want to add something about opportunities in rural tourism?
Yes.
I would like to add one.
Okay.
Please.
After Claude.
Please, Claude.
I don't know if it's working or not.
It's working.
The main opportunity is the crisis. Nobody thinks about this, but the local crisis, forget COVID, has helped rural tourism to emerge, and still is, because a lot of people cannot travel, a lot of people cannot afford going outside, things are getting very expensive, so there is a movement inside the country. So it has been kind of an alternative to the crisis. I think this is how things moved at the beginning and still are up to now. You can develop other type of opportunity, but I think it's an essential one. It was the start of it.
If I stay on the prices, the average price of guest houses are quite expensive compared to, I mean, the rest of the lodging. Do you think, Omar, because you were saying that maybe for the trailers or the trekkers, do you think there is an opportunity in the low to mid end market in terms of guest houses?
This
because
is exactly.
in the same time you talked about standards. So how can we have good standards with low prices? Come
Yes.
in, the second part of the question.
In fact, the hiker, you have different types of hikers. If we talk about young hikers, their demands are different from people who are probably less younger. So depending on the target market, each guest house is targeting. If we go to Haush definitely, they have a certain target market. If we go to Kurzai, it's the same. If we go to a guest house on the trail, so the expectations are lower, so prices are lower. And this is what we try to do, is to have a variety of guest houses available on the trail to satisfy the needs of the various types of hikers. But again, going back to opportunities, I want to second Noor in terms of experiential learning. And this is, for example, if we talk about edible plant بالعربي تسليق شغله كثير حلوه جدودنا واهلنا كانوا يعملوها. These are things tourists love to experiment while hiking. So these are the things we're trying now to introduce to the hiking experience. So hikers who are now like to hike, but they are asking for more, experiment more things. They like to watch birds during the migrating seasons, something we're trying to do now with a specialized NGO in bird watching to introduce this activity on the trail. Food tourism is another big attraction to everyone. And this is why we're creating partnership with the Passeport Culinaire in order to create experience on the trail, because the demand is also increasing, you know. In terms of religious tourism, well, we have plenty of opportunities, and there are a lot of thematic religious trail which can be opened. There is one big trail being prepared now. We cannot announce it, but a very interesting national trail, religious of nature. Voila.
Isa, sorry,
No problem. I wanted to go back to the opportunities thing. So unfortunately, obviously what happened in Beirut in 2020 also meant that we kind of shifted, the attention was on areas outside Beirut. So that created, I think, a demand for properties outside. In terms of experiential, we keep hearing that word, and it's very true. There are millennials, there are young people, older people. It's no more enough just to provide somewhere to stay. I mean, the guest houses here are all great examples of that. I mean, with Al Hosh, you have the farm, you can learn about things. So I think it's very important to think beyond just the room and somewhere to sleep. And there were just 2 points I wanted to make. I think there's also a responsibility on behalf of the guest house operators to work with local producers, to work with people that are actually in the community. Because as a traveler, you want to have an authentic experience. So, I mean, for instance, at Tal Hosh, that's the case. At, Beit Jidda, they use products from local ladies. So this is very, very important to connect with the community and have like a network together.
Sarah, do you? Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And if I take the word that I heard at the previous panel, which is impact, 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 when you're opening a guest house in a village, I know for us, Beit Atrad, we started employing 20% of the people working at the guest house were from the village or the villages next door. Today, it's over 50%. We try and source as much as possible from the people around, whether cheese or mazout. So we're giving opportunities to the villages around. And it's actually very rewarding for both of us because we have loyalty from our team, but they also are staying in their villages instead of immigrating. We still do have a few people that are leaving, but most of them stay because they have a business opportunity. So yes, that's very important in times of crisis. So we do have impact on our economy in a more than one way.
And sorry, Najib, that really matters. Sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah. And that really matters to travelers. I think that's what people want. They want to know that they're having a positive impact. And again, other things like the amenities, for instance, in the room. We have amazing producers in Lebanon. We have soap. We produce soap. We should be using Kana Saboon. We should be using Salma. We should be using, there are so many brands that we can use of our own, from our own country. So it's time that we start like working together and promoting what we have.
Faisal, you are promoting the Beka, so from a long time.
Yes. Well, first of all, the Beka is known for wines. So there's around 35 wineries in the Beka. We don't take wines from other regions. Obviously, there are beautiful wines in other regions, but the idea is at least to have on our carte de vin, we have around 7 or 8 small producers. We work with one big one just to have it as an alternative, let's say. But as well, what Lisa said, we work with a lot of local producers in terms of, we do our own natural cosmetics. We do our own herbal teas now because we have the land. So people go experience the different scents and then reproduced into products like soaps, like teas. We do as well what Sarah just said as well. This is an opportunity. Most of the, let's say, employees used to be from abroad, and due to the prices are now at least 50 to 60% Lebanese, and from the area next to us as well. So this is a big opportunity as well. So yeah.
Claude, is it the same in the Shuf, Kerzai?
Yes, we have created a lot of employment. In fact, the majority of the people working at Kerzai are from surrounding villages, Baalin, Jahiliye, and others. So they are considered like a family. We do exchange a lot also into purchasing goods from also the people in the surroundings. We promote protection of the forest for them. We are doing the cleaning up of the forest regularly. We have installed fire safety points in the forest. So we do exchanges with them all the time. It's a positive attitude.
Can we go back to the food a little bit? Noor, you had some ideas about rural food. I mean, the different stations that we could have in areas. Do you have something
About
to
the
add on that?
food, the culinary tourism, you mean?
Yeah.
So of course there is a lot of opportunity regarding the culinary tourism. We have specialists here in the room. There is a lot of.
So we should eat from the southern mountain in Kirzai, from the Beka in Hosh, from the north.
Each region has.
Or can we mix it? What do you mean exactly? What is the opportunity here?
Each region have amazing culinary heritage particular to it. So we can really develop special menus in our guest houses, in restaurants all around the different areas. We can go out of the basic mesa menu that all restaurants offer in all the areas in Lebanon, because in general restaurants are really stick to the basic mesa offer, and according to the feedback that we have from tourists, I think here in the room there is also a travel agent and guides that can testify of that. Tourists leaving Lebanon in general are fed up with the meze, and they don't want to see meze anymore when they leave after 7 days eating every day in Lebanese restaurant. Lebanese food is amazing and we love it. But we need alternative also meals, really authentic traditional meals offered in our cuisines, in our restaurants and guest houses.
What about kids? We hear a lot of guest houses for adults only. We talking about sports, about trails. We're talking about food. Who's taking care of the kids? Or the kids are an opportunity for the guest houses? Maybe Faisal with the farm. But do you think kids and families could be a factor? I mean, an opportunity.
Kids, let me put it this way, from a business perspective for a farm, they're the one who brings back their families, their adults. So when they come and experience this, they feed the deers, we have some deers, they feed, let's say, the chickens, they go down to the vegetable garden, they taste directly from the vegetable gardens. So they're the ones saying to mommy, we want to go back to Al-Hosh due to these experiences. You were talking about a small atelier that we do. They just do za'atar, and they smell the za'atar and just the noise. So they do the jam in front of them, they taste the jam. This year, we're going to introduce an atelier of milk produced, to do some milk. So imagine, well, I remember when I was a kid, we had الغنمات يجوا من قدام. Sorry, بس دغري الحليب نشربه direct أمرار. So these kind of experiences, I want to really give them. Imagine growing in such an environment. And in addition to that, unfortunately, anywhere from Jounieh down to Khalde, it's becoming a jungle, complete jungle. So people are looking for these opportunities and to rediscover their origins. It's still in their DNA, but maybe they lost them for a generation because they were not able to go to experience Al-Hosh or what other destinations are doing this.
Because we're not kids friendly. So because we're not kids friendly, I know that a lot of clients complain that too many guest houses don't accept kids. So it's definitely an opportunity that we're not giving.
Omar, what about kids in your programs?
Yes, in fact, the LNT is a long distance trail. So it's a tough trail in general. It doesn't target kids as a first target market. But what we're trying to do now is, in addition to the 4 side trails, those loops in Ihmij, Douma, Baskinta, and Kassin, we're going to open 4 new 4 loops to, in fact, target hikers with like families. One in Minjiz Akkad. This is a beautiful village to discover by every Lebanese. One linking Felouga and Hammeina, a loop linking those 2 villages with the LMT. One already there, it's in Ain Ibil, the southern part of Lebanon. It will become part of the network of the LMT. And the 4th trail for family, the existing trails of Chale, which will become part of the LMT network. So there will be space for families, of course, because there are small loops for families.
Noor, is there, do you want to add something about kids?
About family tourism, I was, so as you probably know, I developed the concept of family tourism with NEOS Kids. So for long years, I offered a lot of tours for families, because in Lebanon, we do have actually more specialists in kids-oriented activities like taking kids from schools and so on, but we do not have really a lot of travel organizers that are family-oriented and organize family tours. And I think this is a huge opportunity. I think there is a lot of things to offer for family tourism and family friendly activities that can be offered in Lebanon as far as seasonal.
Can you give us some examples?
Of course, when we talk about rural tourism, this is mainly actually oriented toward family tourism, because, for example, when we talk about seasonal pickings, so in all our areas, so when we have seasonal picking and our farmers are in pain because they need people to go valorizing their produce. And if you go, for example, do an apple picking or a cherry picking in the field of the farmer, and you buy the products directly from the farmer, and he's happy because he's earning a lot of money comparing to what he can sell at the market. So it is what we call a win-win situation. Kids and family, adults and kids, actually, not only kids, because adults also love to do the picking, the seasonal pickings. We do have fruits, we do have vegetables. I organized, for example, in Damour, corn picking, and did a barbecue under banana trees in Damour. We did strawberry picking. We did. There is plenty of opportunities, and really, you will be helping farmers in different areas, and in the same time, you will really give a lot of happiness to family, because it's also a very cheap activity. People are in pain also now for the economical situation, of course, and they are looking for cheap activities. So this is quite a very free activity, and in the same time, you are helping local farmers, and in the same time, you are. So it's a win-win situation for all. This is an example, but
Omar,
Sorry.
I have a question about the communication between yourselves all together. How do you communicate? You don't have a syndicate. You don't have a real law about guest houses. Rural tourism is blurry. We know that now it's a big trend. I mean, domestic tourism, rural tourism. What is the system of communication, the internal communication between all of you? Are you thinking of creating a syndicate?
No. We have a WhatsApp group.
Yeah. You have one.
It's true, and we're all on the WhatsApp group.
So who is on this WhatsApp group?
All the guest houses that want to be on the WhatsApp group. There's how many? There's quite a bit.
I think we're around 30 or 35.
Yeah. And ahla sahla.
Yes, absolutely.
And what do you do on that WhatsApp?
We share our problems.
We share our challenges.
So you talk about HR, you talk about pricing, mazout.
It's mainly mazout, not HR. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, but it could be whatever.
It's anything we're facing from the, let's say,
it
the
looks
outside
like
world.
It's look like the private club.
No, not at all. On the contrary,
It's a guest house club.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to exchange information. We don't exchange on guests, but we exchange what we need in order to
Why don't we have Noor or Omar or why don't Lisa? Why don't we have a syndicate of guest houses?
As I know, there is something which is being cooked right now. Sorry, probably I have some information about it, but I know that
You have a lot of information today.
yes, no, we are in the field. Yani, it's true that you are a trail, but you are part of a tourism value chain, and we interact with experts in each sector of this value chain. I know that the guest houses at the national level, there is something being cooked for a new standard for guest houses. There is a law for guest houses, which was issued in 2012, thanks to Pascal Abdallah and Martin Tesh, who played a major role, the key role in issuing this law. But today there is room to improve this law, and Guest Houses Lebanon is the platform, is the organization, I think, which will lead today in coordination with ASIL to organize the guest houses sector. So.
Okay, I will take some questions from the audience.
Can
I won't take any questions. Someone has a question?
Hello.
Naji, can we add the...
Yes, of course. Please.
We discussed together also on the phone an opportunity that you didn't mention. Hello. We discussed an opportunity that you didn't mention today. So as far as geographical areas, that some of the geographical areas are less, so we have less services offered. As for example, the south in Lebanon needs, for example, accommodation, a lot of accommodation. We do have lack in accommodation. We are talking about opportunities. I think we should also mention the opportunities that are existing in different areas. In our area, in rural Batroun, there is a lot of already businesses and it's kind of hub, but South Lebanon, for example,
okay, I will ask a last question because the audience is mute today. What advice? There is a question. What advice will you give Sarah or Claude or Faisal to a newcomer that wants to open a guest house?
No.
To a newcomer? Go for it. Be authentic and make sure you have your figures right, because it's not only hard, but it has to be business, because that catches up in the middle of the process. But I think go for it. Go.
I would say first choose a good spot that maybe is related to you or to your origins or to where you are from. This is should be start. I mean, your village or whatever. Then you have to, okay, you need to work on figures, but you need also to survey your place before opening up and see if you will have the potential of getting as much clients as you expect. So you need to make a bit of a study on this. And if things appear good for you, yes, you can go for it. You need to start small. Invest little to make big, but if you invest big, you won't.
Okay, the question.
Lisa, sorry, I just wanted to add something. We have around 200,000 website visitors and we have 27,000 Instagram followers. We get a lot of messages from people. I can mention a couple of things that people always ask about. One of them is the family friendly that you spoke about. Pet friendly is another thing that people care about. The third thing is eco-friendly. They want to go somewhere that cares about the environment. So if there are any entrepreneurs that are planning to open a guest house, please be socially responsible. Think about where you're doing it and how you're doing it. Those three things I think are very important these days for modern day travelers. So that's the advice I would say from Lebanon travelers.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Hello. My question is, we are preparing ourselves to have guests on our guest houses. We are preparing ourselves to have our trails proper for any tracker or a hiker out there. But I asked this question yesterday and I didn't get an answer, but I think I could get an answer today. Our government is not being able to help us in the tourism sector. Okay, as a community, as NGOs, why aren't we taking that step? Okay, we have the people, we have the manpower, we have the funding, we have people like Beritech that can fund and create programs for entrepreneurs. Why aren't we working to get our tourists from outside Lebanon? Okay, the market, we have the market, it's not big enough. The market can't feed all of this work. If we aren't working to get our people out, is there a plan? Can we do that? Is there a possibility to work together to at least get these tourists from outside without the help of our government and to properly promote ourselves outside? Is there a plan, or is there anyone working on that?
Thank you for your question. I got the same yesterday, but I think it's a big. Someone wants.
You can use our platform. We promote outside, Anthony. So, as an example, you can use Lebanon Traveler. We have a lot of people outside the country who follow. But if you're looking for something, as in an organized group or
a community and a common effort, we always work alone. The NGOs works alone. We have the power to work all together. We have brilliant people. We have people that have left this country and they were working on programs like that. One of them, Mr. Omar, Sari Haddad. He left this country. He was working on one of the best NGOs that was here. So why aren't we working together for that?
Yes, I want to tell you something. Today, USAID, can you hear me? Yes. Today, USAID, through ARE program, is financing clusters. And those clusters are working geographical clusters where they are bringing different key players in those clusters from different sectors to work together and develop tourism products which will be sold as packages. And those packages are being prepared for the fall semester, targeting international travelers. But here again, and this is our concern at LMTA, we need to increase the activities in rural areas. We need to develop new activities. But here again, standards. Why? Because when we have better standards, we manage better our services. And this way, I go back to Lisa's idea, manage responsibly. We should manage the trail responsibly. The hotel needs to manage the hotel responsibly by being more eco-friendly. So it's the duty of each one of us to be ready to receive these tourists coming to our area. Yes.
Thank you, everyone. There is another question? Sorry.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Yeah, one question. Okay. Please.
Hello, Pascal Abdallah. I just want to tell you that there is already a law existing at the Ministry of Tourism. If you go on the website of the ministry, you can find it. So for newcomers, they should start with the law applying to the Ministry of Tourism. That's one thing. Another thing, Omar talked about ARE project. شو منه مزبوط؟
No, there is a law. It's a very blurry law.
Yes.
It's very limited. I mean, it's lacking a lot of specification.
Yes, but you can start from
it's
there.
Not like a hotel. It's just a law that has.
Of course, it is not like a hotel, but you can start from there. And with another USAID project under TIF with Le Passeport Culinaire as well, we will be working on modernizing this law. We should tell the newcomers to start by the law. لأنه إذا بنكمل بالفوضى بنكمل بصير كله فوضى.
Thank you.
بعد شغلة تانية شغلة تانية سريعة. Omar talked about ARE, but as well with TIF, we are working تلك مع Le Passeport Culinaire on the new categorization of all the alternative lodging. بعدين ثالث شغلة في meat network, meet network, Mediterranean experience of ecotourism. هيدا كمان بيسوق للمحميات وبيسوق للبيوت الضيافة around المحميات. بعد عندي كان اشياء كثير بس انتم مزروكين نحكي غير مرة.
Merci. One last question. Madame.
هاي كان بدي اسالكم كسكيورتي وايز للليتل جاست هاوسز شو في الواحد يعمل حتى يقدر انه يامن هالشيء، واذا في enough motivation للوركرز يلي عم بيشتغلوا كلبنانيه، وانتم شو عم تقدموا للبنانيه يعني قبل ما نفكر يلي برا نحن كلبنانيه هون عايشين، إذا عاملين عندكم offers special للبنانية حتى يجوا عندكم.
عندنا 30 ثانية.
Security شو يعني؟
مين رح يجاوب؟
نحن كلبنانية إذا عم تعطوا إنه إذا عم تقدموا بالجست هاوسز تبعكم special offers for people who are still.
لا security.
حدا عنده جواب؟
I have somewhat the same question. Okay. So when it comes to the pricing strategy we're talking about, we said that there's a lot of opportunities in Lebanon, and in the winter season, they are very low, and we are not having too much bookings, and we don't have the resources and all of these stuff. Okay, the foreigners and the international market is really important, but as she said, are we offering a discounted price for the Lebanese so they can experience the same things that the international market
Noor
can
will
experience?
answer to that because she's doing that.
Yeah,
Noor, you have 20 seconds.
While we take into consideration that the purchasing power and the economic segmentation of our culture today is really, we have a lot of poor people, the middle class is shrinking, and there's a really low
She has an answer. She has a price, double price. Please.
Yeah, we got this discussion because Naji is, of course, as you know, a very important tourism consultant, and we discussed, because I was for putting a special price for Lebanese as far as we are crossing a very difficult situation, all of us. I'm a teacher at the Lebanese University, and my salary is, as you know, I still have a very, very basic salary. So I know what Lebanese are passing through. So I did offer at Dar Noor a special price for Lebanese, but it is very difficult. It is very challenging because we do have overheads that are very difficult to assure. She was asking about the Lebanese also workers at the house. I actually experienced something that I tried to hire not too much people working, but Lebanese from the villages around. But as far as I have an event, I have a database of people from all the villages around, specialized in different things. So for example, family tourism or.
Noor, I suggest, because really our time is to finish this discussion internally with the lady that asked the question.
Yes, I wanted to tell him that
you deal with Jumana because she's pressuring me.
Okay.
You have something?
Yes, I wanted to answer him. During the through hike of the LMP, it's a 1 month hike. The prices of the Lebanese hikers are 35% less than international hikers.
Let's finish that internally with between. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.